She didn't even notice I'd left the room. Not at first. The laughter was still bouncing around the dining table like it had a heartbeat of its own. Loud, breathless, ugly. Her voice was the loudest. Not because it was sharp, but because I knew it too well. I could hear when it was fake. I could hear when it was cruel. She thought it was funny. So did her friends. The joke was short. One sentence, a single stupid sentence. I mean, if you ever need sleep, I'll just let my husband touch you. You'll pass out in 2 minutes, tops. That was it. No punchline, no smirk in my direction. She didn't even look at me when she said it, just tossed it casually into the middle of the conversation, like a paper airplane full of poison. I stood up. No plate slamming, no words. I didn't look back when I walked out of the house barefoot. And the truth is, I didn't come back. That was 73 days ago. What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that my silence was never weakness. It was a fuse. The next day, I filed 3 things: a change of address, a motion to separate finances, and a request for full data recovery on a laptop she forgot to log out of. She had no clue any of that was happening while she was texting, "Where are you?" and calling me selfish for embarrassing her in front of her guests. I was watching a 7-minute screen recording from 2 months ago. Her face, her voice, her laugh. But it wasn't about me this time. It was for someone else. Someone who didn't have sleep issues, apparently. Someone who'd been parking outside our house every Thursday under the name Shay from Pilates. The night she mocked me in front of her friends was the night I realized she'd been practicing that joke for someone else. It wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't a mistake. It was rehearsed. And now, it was my turn to rehearse something too. Only I wouldn't be laughing. The first time she texted me after the dinner party, she used the word dramatic. Colby, that was dramatic. We were just having fun. Come home. I stared at that message for a long time. I remember wondering, was she talking to me, or to a version of me she'd already replaced? Because the man she married wouldn't have left the table. He would have swallowed it, laughed along, maybe even made some self-deprecating joke just to smooth the room. That guy was gone. He died somewhere between her punchline and the applause. That same night, I parked 2 blocks away from our house. I sat in a dark rental car under a dying street lamp and watched the living room windows. She hadn't closed the curtains. Inside, she paced. She wasn't crying. She was pacing, phone in hand, scrolling, typing, deleting, typing again. The look on her face wasn't regret. It was calculation. It hit me. She wasn't worried about me. She was worried about what I'd do. She knew I'd seen too much, heard too much, been quiet too long. I stayed there for hours, watching. And then, at 2:03 a.m., a message popped up on her screen. I saw it light her face in blue, and the name was Shay. No ring emoji. The message, "He'll get over it. They always do." She didn't respond, and she smiled. I swear to God she smiled. That was the moment I started building my exit. Not the kind of exit where you run off with your tail between your legs. The kind where you leave quietly, but take everything they thought you'd leave behind. I never confronted her. That was the first rule I made for myself. No direct confrontation. Not yet. Not while she still believed she had control over the story. That belief was the one thing I could use. Darla wasn't just careless. She was arrogant. That's what happens when someone gets away with small betrayals for too long. They start thinking they're invisible, unchecked, above cause and effect. But arrogance has a pattern, and once I recognized it in her, I stopped reacting and started studying. She was still texting me. "Where are you? Can we talk? I'm sorry if that upset you." But her version of sorry was always vague and always about my sensitivity, never about her behavior. It wasn't guilt. It was control disguised as guilt. That difference matters more than people think. She kept posting on social media too. Photos of herself smiling in cafes, selfies at her spin class, fake throwbacks from trips she edited to look recent. No mention of me, no ring, just hashtags like Yaxi healing and growth season. The truth is, she didn't miss me. She missed the image of me. But she didn't realize something had changed. Her phone plan was still in my name, so I used it. Call records, text history, voicemail logs. It wasn't illegal, it was my account. And what I found didn't surprise me. Shay wasn't a name pulled from thin air. He was real. He worked at the same boutique fitness startup where she consulted. His real name was Marcus Shelton. Divorced. A trainer turned manager with a very public Instagram full of cryptic captions like, "Choose energy over comfort." They had been texting every day for over 4 months. And while she mocked my shortcomings at a dinner table, she was sending Marcus photos of the bedroom I bought for her with captions like, "Next time, don't make me wait so long." It stung, yeah, but not like you'd think. I wasn't devastated. I was activated. Because now I had a timeline, a pattern, a name, and a reason to finish what I'd started that night on the sidewalk. The night I walked away, barefoot and humiliated. Except now, I wasn't walking away. I was hunting the truth. By the time week 3 rolled around, Darla still hadn't realized how deep I'd gone. She thought I was licking my wounds in a friend's spare bedroom or holed up in some hotel, regretting my meltdown. That's what she called it in a voicemail I replayed 3 times. Your little meltdown at dinner. Her tone was clipped. Her patience was thinning. I wasn't reacting fast enough for her to control the narrative, and she didn't like that. But I wasn't in a friend's guest room. I was living in a small studio across the river that I rented under a different name. It wasn't glamorous. A mattress on the floor, 1 duffel bag, no TV. Just a lamp, a cork board, and a growing trail of her secrets pinned to it like a case file. You think that sounds dramatic? Maybe it was. But it gave me focus. And when you've been humiliated in front of a room of people you didn't even want to eat dinner with, focus becomes a survival skill. Her life kept rolling without pause. I watched it unfold through her location pings, synced Google account, and shared streaming history she forgot I had access to. One night, while I was eating cold takeout off a paper towel, I saw she'd watched an entire season of a romantic drama called Unfaithful Hearts. The title made me laugh out loud. First time I'd laughed in weeks. The next day, I started getting creative. I ordered flowers to our house, roses, red and showy, just like she liked. But I didn't sign the card. I knew she'd assume they were from Marcus. I also knew she'd text him. She did. "You're full of surprises," she wrote. He replied with, "What?" And then it unraveled. She spiraled. I watched it in real time as she tried to cover the confusion with a fake joke. Just teasing. But Marcus didn't like games. He ghosted her for 4 days. That's when I knew he wasn't in this for her. He liked the chase, the thrill, the access, but not the fallout. Darla panicked. She called him twice, then 3 times, then left a voicemail that started with, "I'm sorry," and ended with, "I didn't mean to scare you." I saved that one. Because watching her come undone from a single anonymous bouquet confirmed something I'd only suspected. Her life was held together by illusions. As soon as one crack appeared, the whole thing began to collapse. So I made a choice. I wasn't just going to walk away from her. I was going to let her walk straight into the version of herself she couldn't maintain. And then I'd show her what it looked like when someone really disappears. Darla was unraveling faster than I expected. She posted a photo of herself with a motivational quote 2 weeks after the dinner party. It read, "When people walk away from you, let them. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth." I stared at that caption longer than I should have, because I knew exactly what it meant. That post wasn't for her followers. It was for me. She was trying to reframe what happened, rewrite it, spin the story before I got the chance to speak. But I had no intention of speaking. Instead, I made her listen. It started small. The internet bill was in my name. I canceled it one evening while she was mid-Instagram live. It went black halfway through her skincare pitch. She'd been collaborating with a glow brand lately, another side hustle she launched to feel independent, she told me. I didn't care about the business. I cared about the silence that followed when the screen froze on her face and dozens of comments read, "You good? And where'd she go?" She texted me that night, first time in days. "Did you cut the Wi-Fi? Seriously?" I didn't answer. Then came the water bill. That one I delayed just long enough for the shower to sputter out halfway through one of her soaks. I could imagine her wrapped in a towel, dripping and furious, phone in hand, trying to call me while half lathered. Again, I didn't pick up. Every ignored call was more satisfying than the last. Then came the real twist. The letter. I didn't send it to her. I sent it to her mother. A simple civil document. A notification of separation. It didn't blame, accuse, or insult. It was calm, legal, cold. I knew Darla's mother, Elaine, would read it at least 3 times before she even called her daughter. She was old-fashioned. She believed in appearances and reputations and not airing out family matters in public. But I wanted her to know. I wanted the right people to see Darla falling apart, not strangers on social media. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth to spread quietly, like smoke filling a house. A few days later, I saw what that smoke looked like. Through the window of a coffee shop near the gym she used to frequent, I saw her sitting across from Marcus. Her hands were clenched. He looked checked out. They weren't touching. She wasn't smiling. And then, without warning, she got up and stormed out, right onto the sidewalk, where she stopped, looked both ways, and just stood there. No direction, no plan. That's when I realized something. She wasn't heartbroken because I left. She was spiraling because I left, without giving her a role to play. No fight, no closure. No final conversation where she could cry or scream or twist the story into something romantic. I hadn't abandoned her. I had denied her the stage. And now, all that was left was her standing outside a cafe with a man who was already slipping away, and a world she could no longer keep pretending she controlled. It was almost insulting how quickly she adapted after the cafe scene. I expected at least a pause, some flicker of self-awareness. Maybe even a moment where she acknowledged that things were falling apart. But Darla wasn't wired that way. Her strength was survival, not sincerity. And when sincerity fails, people like her reach for manipulation, dressed up as charm. She started posting again, more than usual. But the tone had changed. No more self-pity or vague quotes about growth. Now it was curated happiness, laughter, filters, dinner with friends I knew she didn't even like. She even used the phrase, "finally found peace again," in one caption attached to a photo of her at some lakeside retreat, smiling into the wind like a woman liberated. I didn't buy it, and neither did she, deep down. But the scariest people aren't the ones who fall apart when they're hurt. It's the ones who pretend they're fine while quietly sharpening their next move. Her move came on a Sunday afternoon. I got a text from an unknown number. "Hi, Colby. I heard you've been in touch with my mother. Let's talk. Please." It was her. Different number, new tone. No blame, just an invitation. I didn't respond. An hour later, another message. This time, no pretense. "If you don't want to talk, I'll come find you. You can't ghost your way out of a marriage." There it was, the mask slipping. She still believed this was something she could steer back into control, like I was just a confused husband dragging out a silent tantrum. But what she hadn't figured out yet was that I wasn't ghosting her. I was documenting her. And I wasn't silent because I was broken. I was silent because I was building something that didn't include her. That same evening, she sent a photo. It was of my childhood dog Riley, the one I'd had from age 13 to 26. The picture was framed on my old nightstand in the house we shared. The photo was cracked, the glass broken. Her message underneath, "Come home before more things get ruined." I stared at it for a long time, not because I was sad, because I was stunned. She thought that would work. That photo was my soft spot. She knew it. But trying to weaponize a memory that's sacred was like lighting a match inside a church. And it confirmed what I already suspected. She wasn't unraveling, she was reloading. The next morning, I changed everything. New phone number, locked credit, filed for legal separation. And then I left her one thing, one tiny seed I knew she couldn't ignore. A single email, no subject, just a link. When she opened it, she'd find an encrypted folder titled, "Your Words." Inside were 5 voice recordings she'd left on Marcus's voicemail, the one she didn't know I had, and a screenshot of the bouquet message she sent to the wrong man. I didn't threaten her. I didn't say a word. Because silence, when used right, is the loudest scream a person can hear. 3 days after I sent the folder, I received an invitation. Not an email, not a call. An actual printed invitation. The envelope was thick, textured. My name was written in ink, not printed, not typed. Handwritten in her handwriting. She always had this neat, looping cursive that looked like it belonged on wedding place cards. I opened it slowly, already guessing it wouldn't make sense. Inside was a card. At the top, dinner. One night, just us. Below it, the date and time. A restaurant we used to visit when we were still pretending to like each other. A place with candles on every table and silverware that weighed too much in your hand. No explanation, no apology, no mention of the folder. She was inviting me to watch the mask go back on in real time. I didn't RSVP, but I showed up. Not because I wanted to eat. Because I wanted to see what kind of performance she thought would fix everything. She was already there when I arrived, sitting upright, wearing the same black dress she wore the first time we had dinner there 6 years ago. Hair done exactly the same way, like she'd frozen herself in time on purpose. She smiled when she saw me. Not nervous, not uncertain. Calculated. She ordered my drink before I sat down. The waiter placed it next to the empty seat across from her, and she gestured toward it like it was bait. I sat, but I didn't touch it. She started with a story, not an apology. A story about how things got complicated and expectations got heavy, and how sometimes we lose sight of who we were before we became someone else's mirror. It was beautiful, carefully crafted, probably rehearsed. She was trying to narrate a tragedy and place us both inside it as equals, as if she didn't humiliate me in front of strangers, as if she didn't laugh behind my back, as if I hadn't spent months tracing breadcrumbs back to the man she never officially admitted existed. I let her speak. I didn't interrupt. Then she pulled out her final move. She reached under the table, into her bag, and slid a small notebook across to me. It was leather-bound, sealed with a black elastic strap. I hadn't seen it in years. My journal. The one I used during my roughest months, when I was going to therapy, writing down thoughts I couldn't say out loud, trying to pull myself out of the quiet darkness that she called mood swings. I thought I lost it. Turns out she'd found it and kept it. She didn't say why she brought it. She didn't have to. She wanted me to feel seen, vulnerable, exposed, like she still had a piece of me I couldn't take back. But what she didn't realize was that I had outgrown every word in that notebook. She had saved the man in those pages because he was easy to manipulate. I slid it back to her without opening it. Then I stood, and I said one thing. Next time you steal someone's pain, try not to use it as your dinner reservation. Then I left. No yelling, no glass breaking, no dramatic ending. Just me, walking out again like I had the first time. Only this time, I wasn't walking away wounded. I was walking away clean. It's strange how silence can become addictive. After I left that dinner, I didn't look back. Not physically, not emotionally, not digitally. I blocked her number, disconnected the shared accounts, and set up a legal filter so all communication had to go through one of the driest attorneys I could find. He didn't use adjectives, just facts. Darla tried once more through a letter. It arrived a week after our dinner. Heavy cream paper, perfectly spaced lines. In it, she said she didn't know who she was without me, that losing me felt like losing gravity, that she hoped someday I could remember who we were before it all cracked. I didn't respond. I didn't hate her. I wasn't bitter. I just wasn't hers anymore. It took a while to feel human again. At first, I kept expecting the noise to return. The passive-aggressive texts, the subtle mockery, the manipulation disguised as concern. But it didn't, because she no longer had a key to my life. I moved cities. Not far, but far enough that nothing looked familiar. I bought a small place near a park and started over. It's quiet here, peaceful. There's a bakery that remembers my name, a neighbor who plays jazz too loud on Sundays, and a local dog rescue I started volunteering at. The irony, I named the first dog I walked Riley, just like my old one. He was nothing like him, of course. Barked at his own shadow, ate part of my shoe. But walking that dog was the first time I realized I was no longer holding on to anger. I was holding on to air, freedom. A few weeks ago, I met someone. Nothing dramatic, no whirlwind romance. Just a kind conversation on a park bench about how people don't look up from their phones anymore. Her name's Meredith. She reads real books, writes with a pen, and hasn't asked me once about my past. It's early, no promises. But it feels honest. And that's more than I've had in a long, long time. So no, I didn't win. This wasn't some big triumph where I exposed her to the world or destroyed her reputation. I just left. I walked out of a story that wasn't mine anymore and started writing a new one. where I don't have to apologize for being quiet, or thoughtful, or soft.